Hello everybody and welcome to the Tuesday edition of Video Clips. And after I did that video on the smoothie, some of you said, gosh, I wish you'd share more about your personal life. And I don't know exactly how much I should share about that, but I will start with something. And that is that over the weekend, I bought some bone broth. Now, before all of you paleo fans think that I've joined your club, I bought it for my cat. So here's something going on in my life that is maybe interesting and helpful to some of you. My cat Schroeder just turned 15, and he's a senior citizen by anybody's definition, and he has kidney disease, which a lot of older cats get. And so the way that we're handling this is I'm administering subcutaneous fluids at home, which was initially traumatic for me, not because I'm afraid to put needles in any living creature, but because he was terrified of it. And then we were getting him kitty cat acupuncture and then Chinese herbs. And so the Chinese herbs really don't taste very good, and you know how cats are. So the vet suggested that I find some bone broth that he might drink. I think what has happened, though, is Schroeder has listened to me talk about the not good nature of bone broth for so long that he doesn't like any of the bone broth. So it was a total failure. I gave him bone broth without any Chinese herbs to see if he would like it plain, and he does not like beef bone broth, and he does not like chicken bone broth, so we're going to have to come up with another way to get the Chinese herbs in him. But I thought I would share this for a couple of reasons. First of all, because some of you have asked about Schroeder, and some of you ask about my personal life, and second of all, in case somebody saw me at the Meyer and Lewis Center purchasing bone broth, I didn't want anybody to get the wrong idea. Haven't switched teams here on that. I'm still in the plant-based arena, not going for paleo. A couple of other things I'll address that I think are important. You guys bring out some great comments on the YouTube channel, and I've mentioned before some of them I can't okay because of language and all that, and some of them require a little more discussion than I can type. And so a common theme with a bunch of comments I got is based on a video clip that I did on kratom, which is the herbal product that has turned out to be as addictive as opiates. And so many of you posted something along this line. Well, you know, what do you think is worse, this herbal product or opiates? As if the only choice is the herbal product or opiates. And there's a great group that does best practices studies in Utah. It's called, their website's vitalsmarts.com. And they write about this. It's called the sucker's choice. Now, the sucker's choice is when either you present to yourself or you present to others two bad choices and ask people to make a choice of which of the bad choices they would prefer, ignoring any other possibility that might be better than the two bad choices. Okay, so in this case, we're talking about an addictive product with side effects versus an opiate pharmaceutical drug that's addictive and has side effects. Well, there's another choice too. How about not becoming addicted or becoming a former addict of whatever it is that you're addicted to? That is an option. It's a whole lot more work than it is to just switch the things that you're addicted to. Well, I was addicted to opiates and now I'm addicted to an herb, and isn't that better? There is a third choice, which is to not be addicted to anything, if you choose that. Yes, it's hard. I'm not saying it's not hard. I'm saying that is a choice. Some people make it, and it's important to insert that choice in any conversation about options, okay? And then some of you continue to post these. I know somebody who's using it and they're doing great. I used it and I'm doing great. And the problem with stories is that they're extraordinarily misleading. So I'm going to tell you a story, and it's a true one. I know somebody, known this person for years, who goes out routinely and has way too much to drink and then drives. And this individual, at least as far as I know right now, has never had a DUI. Okay, so if I say, I really don't think people should be concerned about drinking and driving, because I know somebody who drinks and drives and has done it for decades and they've never gotten caught, what would you say? But the law says you can't drink and drive. And here's the way I feel about it. Sure as heck, if I did it, I'd probably be locked up. First time, I'm pretty sure, all right? So the fact that somebody does something and it worked out, whatever worked out means, doesn't mean that it's something that you should do or anybody should do. So the storytelling, I can't even say it's interesting. Sometimes it can lead you to look into things, but it's not a justification for using an herbal product or taking a drug or whatever we're talking about. Many of you ask questions about the smoothie ingredients, which can be purchased here at Wellness Form Health if you choose to. It is brewer's yeast, not nutritional yeast. It is green tea. We own our own green tea farms in China. The smoothie mix we make here, it's vegetable powders. And the flax seeds are, everybody knows what flax seeds are, they're golden organic flax seeds. So you can get those ingredients here if you choose to make that smoothie. And if you want more information about this or anything, email pampopper@msn.com. One question that came up several times is, oh my gosh, you shouldn't blend foods in a blender because doesn't it destroy the fiber? It actually doesn't, and I just checked just to make sure. I couldn't find a single study, no matter how I entered things in search engines on various medical sites, that shows that fiber negatively alters the, fiber is negatively altered, I should say, from blending food. The thing that does alter fiber more than anything is cooking methods. So if you overcook plant food, you will negatively affect the fiber. So there are so many misunderstandings about smoothies and how dangerous they are. Some people say that's actually not true. In fact, the thing that determines the effect of food on your system, for example, how much nitric oxide you produce, is not whether or not you chew the food, blending it's fine, it's the condition of the microbiome in your mouth. So if you decide to do a little research on this, I think you'll come off the ledge thinking that smoothies or blended foods are going to kill you. And I will tell you this, if your health is so precarious that one smoothie every day is going to end your life early, I think you should stop watching this channel right now and whoop it up and drink champagne and have a great party for your remaining days, because I don't think anything I'm going to say here is going to help you, all right? I'm obviously being facetious, and I hope you understand that. And then another thing that came up from several of you is natural sunscreen, because so many of the videos I've done and articles I've written about sunscreen have included information about the negative ingredients. But if you read all the stuff I've written about vitamin D and sunshine and sunscreen and the whole 9 yards, the real issue is that when you use sunscreen, you don't produce vitamin D, even if it's natural sunscreen. And natural sunscreen, stuff with chemicals, doesn't matter. It allows people to spend time in the sun in a dangerous way that they would avoid if they were respectful of their individual limits in terms of sun exposure. So I'm nice and brown every year by this time of the year, but it's been done in extending my time in the sun by 10-15 minute intervals since back in April, to the extent that we start getting sun here in central Ohio, or northern Ohio, where I live part of the time. So those are some things I thought warranted just a little bit more than a 2-sentence typewritten answer on YouTube, and I think sometimes talking about these things is a little bit better than just typing out a 1-sentence reply. A couple of announcements. Next live course coming up is Your Amazing Microbiome. I'll be teaching that boot camp style Friday night, Saturday afternoon in September, and then health benefits and issues associated with cannabis, and the last one of the year is IBS. And all of these courses that I've created are online once I teach them live, so I think we have 35 or 36 of them now. And remember, it is now coming toward the end of August, and packages that offer steep discounts are only offered in August, and then later in the year in December, and then before summer semester. So if you've been looking at our courses for a long time and considering either changing your career in healthcare or starting a career in healthcare, and you think it's really interesting, boy, now's the time to talk about it, because you're going to get a much better price on the types of things that you're going to want to do with us, courses you're going to want to take with us, than if you wait even just a couple weeks to do it. So pampopper@msn.com is the email address if you want to talk about any of these things that I've just brought up. Okay, so once in a while I think we need a little bit of humor when we're talking about really serious things, because sometimes talking about really serious things can be a little depressing. So I'm going to thank one of our subscribers for sending this little gem, and what she forwarded to me came from the Gomer blog team, which is a satirical medical website, and I'll read that part of it, and then I had all kinds of other ideas of how to capitalize on this concept. So I'll just start at the beginning. The FDA, according to this satirical article, just approved a drug to treat physician burnout. It's called I Don't Give a F***mab. So according to Arnold J. Palmer with the Food and Drug Administration, quote, medical burnout is a serious condition which affects thousands of doctors across the country. The effects of burnout have untold consequences and could significantly shorten the careers of physicians if untreated. He went on to say that I Don't Give a F***mab, which is administered by injection, targets and inhibits C-suite peptides as well as, quote, the entire electronic health record cascade, representing a real breakthrough in burnout science. Subjects taking I Don't Give a F***mab reported a significant decrease in symptoms of entitled patient pruritus, Almost 87% of doctors taking the drug reported a 98% reduction in feeling like they wanted to type on a keyboard with their backs turned to the patients, feeling like they needed to apply to law school, sell crafts on Etsy, or write a novel. The drug has to be administered by continuous infusion in a tranquil place in order to be effective, and right now there are only a few locations approved for administration, and those are Tahiti, the Maldives, and the Depler Farm Hotel in Iceland. A 2-week course of treatment lasts for about 3 weeks and sometimes as long as 6 weeks, and it is expensive at $212,000 per round of treatment, so the drug maker is working to get insurance companies to pay for it. So this led me to think about, what if we had a whole lot of drugs that were targeted at some of the negative behaviors of doctors? And I came up with some, and here's the first one. I am gullible mamad. Targets the specific peptides that cause doctors to be easily persuaded to do almost anything, like prescribing opiate drugs to millions of people without ever checking to see if they were addictive. Studies show that almost 95% of doctors who start taking the drug start searching through medical journals within a very short period of time, seeking to understand the risks and benefits of drugs and procedures. Here's another one that I thought of. Arrogance tenericept targets the specific gene that causes doctors to be arrogant and switches it off. A recent survey of family members, office staff, and patients of doctors who take this drug show that over 75% of doctors taking it started listening to others more, and 68% reported that they were wrong about something at least once. So it appears to be really effective. Obstinate is a drug that targets the specific pathways that cause doctors to refuse to look at evidence that might be negative about protocols that they currently use in practice. The primary target market for this particular drug is pediatricians, who are known for ignoring any and all evidence showing that vaccines can be harmful because they've already made up their minds that they are not. Now, the drug is scheduled for clinical trials, but researchers report that they're having difficulty recruiting pediatricians for the trials. The docs claim that they already know the outcome, the drug won't work, so there's really no sense in looking into it or researching it any further. Racketeerinexate targets doctors who have conflicts of interest and take large sums of money from drug companies. It targets the areas of the brain that affects one's ethics and resets the ethical compass. Doctors who take the drug have been known to actually send money back to drug companies and to turn down large sums of money when offered to them to falsify trial data. And the last one I thought of is psychopathericept. It's designed to treat doctors who hurt rather than help their patients, and the target market here is psychiatrists. In phase 1 clinical trials, 50% of psychiatrists taking the drug started making eye contact with their patients versus 0% of the controls. 65% started a conversation with at least one of their patients versus 0% of the controls, and a whopping 75% of the docs taking the drug set fire to their copy of the DSM versus 0% of the controls. The stock value of the company that makes these drugs is increasing rapidly because there are 1.1 million doctors just in the United States, and almost all of them are candidates to take at least one of these drugs. Plans to develop drugs to treat common disorders of other health professionals are already underway, and phase 1 clinical trials should begin soon. So I hope you enjoy the tongue-in-cheek satire of all of this, and I'll end with the usual caveat that there are some wonderful doctors, and we're very privileged here to work with and know many of them. But as a profession, they should be making fun of themselves instead of me doing it for them. But I thought a little humor at their expense might be a welcome thing. As usual, hit the subscribe button if you're not already a subscriber, and pass this on to anybody who you think would enjoy watching it. And I'll be back to you on Thursday with more news.